she's a meditator here. You don't do meditation? But then, whatever you do, there is a meditative quality for it.
Oh, thank you.
See what it is when you do meditation long enough, your intuitive perceptions come alive. And so the thing is, you're probably a kind of a person where sometimes you think of something, and suddenly, you get a phone call or something. Does that happen to you? Sometimes.
I'm not sure it happens.
Okay. And when you wake up if there's a thought you have in your head, when you wake up in the morning, you seem to know what to do next, kind of thing.
No, not really. But yeah, whenever I fantasize, I'm very peaceful in my fantasy.
Very nice. See, the different qualities of meditation is also about just simply letting go. I'm going to share with you the nature of yoga. Actually, today there is a news report of somebody who has written, an American who went to India, and this person basically, I'm going to read it for you. And oh, that article is gone. It was sitting right over there. Okay. So this person writes, he does not have the physical toning to do any yoga asanas or anything, and he has no patience for meditation. And what happened was he went to India and he found the roadside people who give a shade somewhere in Haridwar, North India, somewhere. And so there he was, and every day he just enjoyed the shave, somebody giving him a nice shave. And what would happen is, each time while he's having the shade, he's trying to look at his phone, that fellow firmly pulls his head over there. And so he decides, I have to let go and let the man do his job. And that for him became very meditative experience. So the whole purpose of yoga is to be able to, the people say it in different ways, to learn to connect with your inner self. Or more really, we are all part of the cosmic being. Learn to connect with the cosmic being. Learn to understand yourself and your purpose. So that can only come by letting go. And so that was now I'll share with you two other cases of, I'm from the Washington DC area in Maryland. So there I used to conduct, this going back like 10-15 years back when I was doing weekly meditation sessions over there. We were beginning one new session in the beginning of one semester. And among the people who came, there was a boy and a girl. And both of these people looked like they were doing some meditative practice. So I asked them, do you do any kind of meditative practice? They said no. And then after talking to them for a little while, I found that this boy, I asked him what changed about a week back. So he said, I took up a campus job. And since I did that, I have found that every lunch hour, I go swimming, and after doing like lap swimming for about 20 minutes, I go and sit in the sauna, and then I pick up my lunch, come back to my desk, and I eat my lunch. So that had the effect of swimming and sitting in the sauna. When you see, he's completely gone. So I called it, oh, that's your swimming in sauna yoga, right? And there was another person, this lady. She said, I asked her, what do you do? Tell me about yourself. And she said she never likes to wake up in the morning. And she goes to sleep late. And somewhere around maybe 9 o'clock in the morning or something, she never registers for any morning class in the university. Okay? And so she wakes up around, probably coming out of sleep around 9 in the morning. And she won't even wake up, open her eyes. Her hand will reach out to a music player next to her. She'll just hit it, the music will come on. And she has been listening to the same music for many, many years. And then that music, she's kind of gone. And she's in that state, she doesn't know when the music stopped by itself. She's there. And then when she's up, she's ready to deal with the world. It may be 10 o'clock in the morning, it may be 10:30, she doesn't care. And then she's ready to deal with the world. And that kind of the meditative practice gives a deep restoration within yourself, being able to feel the calmness. The real, for a large proportion of population, for everybody the situation is slightly different, but for 90% of the population, the problem for ill health is really too many to-dos. And so what happens is, you're stacking your calendar, I have to do this, and what happens is, you have no time to say, okay, let me smell the roses, let me smell the fresh air. You have no time to just let go. That is what it enables you when you listen to that music. So you have time to let go.
Yeah, got it.
There you go. That is your okay. So the thing is, you see, so in one way, you can look at yoga in so many ways. You can look at the connectivity aspect, and another way you can say is the art of learning to do nothing and being peacefully aware. Right?
Yeah, we'll get started. I think some people are running late, but we will get started. I just wanted to give a brief intro of Dr. Rajan. Like he said, he's from the DC area. He's visiting Phoenix this weekend, and he sees patients at a doctor's clinic nearby in Chandler and here. Or maybe more
just in Deerfield.
Okay, about a mile or so away from here. And so I think to give his resume, I'd be talking the whole yoga session, so I'd keep it really brief. He's very accomplished teacher, therapist, healer. He's the executive director of Life in Yoga Institute and Foundation, through which he does all of his work with teaching and seeing patients. And I think a special thing I wanted to mention is there's the continuous medical education for doctors that he does, that teaches doctors how to use yoga as medicine. And then there's he's a very accomplished pranic healer, Reiki master. I'm sure he's had several other yoga trainings, which I don't even want to go into. But most importantly, he's as accomplished as he is, he's a really warm person. He's very generous with his time and knowledge. You just witnessed a few minutes ago, and I can just feel the love and inner joy exude in everything or everyone he interacts with. So on that note, I'll pass the baton over to Dr. Narayan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, there is no yoga. You don't do yoga. You have to experience it. Only when you experience it, yoga comes to you, right? So I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. You see, I started my practice with transcendental meditation, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And from that practice, after 14 years, I had the experience of knowing my previous life. And it was a very surprising, shocking, and an experience where I didn't know what was happening, whether I was hallucinating or not. But I did experience it. And then you always look for, is it true, not true? And finally, of course, there was a reason, and there was a secondary validation. And this is going to give you a chuckle. There was a professor in the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, in Maryland. And this person has this ability. He's like a psychic. If he looks at people, he knows all their previous lifetimes. So this person, I didn't tell him anything. He just asked me, does this mean anything to you? And he's telling me everything that I have seen. How is it possible for him? So this was a secondary validation, and that changed my outlook. You all hear about, we are all products of many lifetimes, our karmas, and all of these things. When you actually experience it, it's a completely transforming moment, because it's no longer an assumption, it's no longer a belief, but you have experienced. So that of course was in 1995, and then in which case you have more questions than answers in your mind. And when the time is right, if you ask, you wouldn't necessarily get the answer immediately, but but at some point in time the answers will come in the time of the day. And so that way various things came along. And of course, various people who had knowledge of various things, pranic healing, Reiki healing, crystals, Rudraksha, and the energy of spaces, Vastu, everything came. And so then you begin to understand how the cosmos hangs together. And if you think of anything, you can go. I like to say, all of us have a little wireless modem within us, and all we have to do is activate it and do our Google search. You can know everything right from it. Okay. So how many of you know about the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali? You've heard about it, right? So at some point in time, I do have a plan that with some of the people here, we'll do a weekend discussion of the Yoga Sutras. As per the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is actually a philosophy of existence, creation, and how you go about realizing it. That is what is yoga. So according to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, I think some people walk that way. There So the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, existence is a distributed computing system. We are all little robots with our little computer within. We are all wirelessly connected to the cosmic server, and there is a cosmic flow going on, and each one doing their part, like parallel processing. We are all feeding into that and makes the whole cosmos. So this is the idea that comes from the Yoga Sutras. Right? And so now the goal of yoga is to experience that. But to experience that, it will only come when you are ready. Right? However, what is the practices we do? The practice of letting go. And in the practice of letting go, you call it the channels of communication within need to be open. We say that there are many different levels of channels within us. If you think of the cosmos as a distributed computing system, if you look within yourself, we are a bundle of about 70 trillion cells within us. Individually, when they are at the baby cell level, every cell is completely identical. That's what they call as the stem cell, right? Even after that, the cells are essentially identical in what they have. But as the stem cells go into whichever part of the body, they decide that cell will one cell, part of the eye, it will do the function of the eye. The other part of the liver, it will do the function of the liver, right? The other part of the lungs or heart or whichever, your palms, your toe, whatever. So all of them, they are doing that function locally over there. So how do they all agree to do this? They are all communicating with each other. Now, for these 70 trillion cells to be communicating with each other, this, from a modern medicine perspective, you look upon it as a biochemical communication, right? Neurotransmitters. But at the top of the nervous system. In fact, that's a very surface level way of looking at it. The real purpose of the nervous system is energy management of the body. In other words, if you are jogging, the nervous system, that the brain and the nervous system reacts. Okay, you have to breathe a little faster so that there is more oxygen coming in. The heart has to pump a little bit faster because all the oxygen needs to go to all the part of the body. And why do they need to do that? So that each part of the body, by mixing oxygen and glucose that is there in every part of the body, produces its own local energy in order for it to function and do its job, right? So that's how the nervous system largely is. But the key part that works along with the nervous system is what we call as the gene expression. And the gene expression and nervous system together is what makes you who you are. Any of you interested in doing further research or looking? How many of you know about PubMed? You know about, okay. Are you from the life sciences area? Okay. So PubMed is the life sciences research database that is maintained by the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. So if you go to PubMed and if you put you have the search option. If you put my last name Narayanan and then you put and in the search this thing, you put bioenergy, BIOENERGY, you will get my paper. It's just recently published. That basically talks about how the communication within the body of this works. And okay, so effectively, when we stimulate this communication within these 70 trillion cells, then in which case you start feeling a sense of openness, better health, and all of that in the physical. In the traditional yogic system, there were you understand, yoga is the core of any the spiritual core of any religious practices. So it doesn't matter, Hindu, Christian, whatever. But in reality, the people who come from the Hindu tradition really don't know. It is a coming together of 33 religions. Okay? So this wise man, Vyasa, brought 33 religions together and called it the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal truth, by culling out the spiritual core of everything. Okay? And so within the spiritual core of these 33 religions, there are 3 kinds of practice approaches. And the 3 kinds of practice approaches are the physical purification of the communication channels. We call the communication channels nadis, right? The second level is vibrational purification. And the third level is mental purification, letting go. All 3 will have benefits. But if you do all 3 of them together, it will have bigger benefits. And the systems of yoga associated with it is, the physical purification relates to Hatha Yoga. And that is what most places yoga studios are doing. They are focused on the physical elements. The level that involves vibration is Tantra Yoga. And that is where the role of music, vibrations, all of these come in. Then the third one is the area of mental letting go is Bhakti Yoga, the concept of surrendering, letting go, right? So these 3, when they are integrated together, that is when the yoga experience is complete and to take you to the higher level of yoga. And this is what Patanjali's Yoga Sutra describes. Patanjali was very clear. He knew all the different practices. Each have their own problem. What happens? People who start from the Hatha Yoga tradition soon go on to Power Yoga. And Patanjali is very clear in saying, anytime if you are going to strain in anything, there is no yoga in it at all. Communication is disrupted when you strain, when there is stress. When there is ease and relaxation, communication is promoted. So what goes as Power Yoga? There is no power yoga. And there is something else to remember. Each person works in their own capacity. How many of you have heard of Swami Ramdev? Have you seen him do various things, videos or in live person?
Yes.
When he is doing his Kapalbhati, he will go. And he will do various other things. If normal people do the same thing, what is going to happen is there will be strain and stress. The number of people who continue by doing that kind of thing, if they do it as a daily practice for a period of a year or 2, they all land up with hernia, whether it's hiatal hernia or inguinal hernia, because they're strained. The cardinal rule of yoga is there can be no strain. And what are the symptoms that there can be no strain? 2 symptoms. By the way, for him it is possible because for him there is no strain. He has practiced enough. Think of a person who has not been jogging at all. They go the first time, they want to go and run a marathon, they can't do it. There's too much strain in the system. But once they train themselves, it becomes very effortless. So when you're doing something for the first time, and if there is strain coming on, if you go to the level where you cross the threshold and you enter the zone of strain, you've lost the yoga. Whereas on the other hand, if you stay at a level where you stretch a little, communication is enhanced. So for a person who is very, very stiff, they cannot even go this way. And all they do is they go a little bit, the little stretch is enough to open the communication channel. But for a person for whom this is, kind of too little, they have to do a little bit more till they can feel the stretch, only then they will feel the stretch come on, right? So in other words, that is the reason there is no goal in terms of what position you have to achieve in yoga. You do in your capacity. If you try to do more than your capacity, you will lose the yoga aspect, right? And so our friends who are seated on the chair, they will be able to get complete benefits of yoga sitting on the chair as much as the people from what we do. So the key is light, the stimulation, opening the channels, right? So the Hatha Yoga approach has the inherent problem that people, without realizing, they think they have to attain a posture. They strain and they lose the yoga. It results in unwanted injuries as well sometimes. Okay. So now so this was what Patanjali pointed out. Any yoga exercise must have to be done with supreme ease. The kind of ease and posture you keep, you should feel completely undisturbed. You should not feel a sense of opposites, heat, cold, tightness, pain, none. And you should be completely at ease. Similarly, the second aspect of it, the approach is the vibrational approach. Vibrational approach can lead to extraordinary abilities. Okay? And this is what is in yoga they call the siddhis, being able to read mind, go beyond all of these things. When people get into those kind of this thing, the popular tantra yogis that you see today in the world today is those of you have heard of this Jaggi Vasudev. What is the Isha Foundation? Yes. So the thing is, he's a tantra yogi. Another person is, some of you might have heard of a person called Shivanand Yogi, Shiv Yoga, right? He's a tantra yogi. So in tantra yoga, what happens is, through vibrations, you can lift many things together. You can project beyond the body. When that happens, people often think, I can project beyond the body. So the sense of that awareness, what we call the spirit or vibration level, this makes people think, I am great, I can do this. And so Patanjali makes you understand that the biggest problem with the Tantra Yoga approach is the sense of I am the doer. As long as you have that sense, you will never reach the highest. And so in each area of yoga there is a problem, and we have to prevent the problem. This is how you understand the true yoga. The third one, the concept of bhakti yoga, unless you mentally let go, you will never reach the highest. In the Yoga Sutras there is one statement. Some of you may have heard the thing called Ashtanga Yoga or the Eightfold Yoga. Within that, on the Eightfold, one of them is called Niyama, or the concept of regularity in living. And in the concept of regularity in living, 5 niyamas are mentioned. And among them, one of them is called Ishvara Pranidhana, or letting go. And he says, unless you do have Ishvara Pranidhana, actually he will say, Ishvara Pranidhana is the final thing that gives you the highest attainment in yoga. Okay? So letting go. So with that as the thought for you, let's begin a very gentle practice. I know we have a limited time, and so talking is not as helpful as doing, right? So within the physical aspect of yoga, which we will focus on largely, the key element is spinal alignment. That is 80% of the communication channel within the body. The remaining 20% is joint mobility, muscle strength, flexibility, all of that comes in. Okay? But on the other hand, 80% is spinal alignment. And normally for those who do regular asana practice, you think in terms of the sun salutation, Surya Namaskar, where you move the spine up and down, right? And all of these kind of things. And there are so many other postures you do. The backward bending, forward bending, and all of those are, and sideward and all of that. In fact, sitting on a chair, you can do all of it. Okay? So we'll go through that demonstration. And then, but then the first thing we want to begin with is, begin to develop our inner awareness. And seek to let go and connect with the cosmos. That's why we begin with 3 Oms. Om is recognized as the vibration of the cosmos. The first Om, feel all the 70 trillion cells within you coming together and becoming one and communicating that. In the second zone, feel yourself go beyond this physical space into all of creation. And third zone, make it go beyond the cosmos. So, with that as the thought, close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Feeling of lightness within you. Gently lift the two fingers of your index fingers of your hands and bring it by the side of the two nostrils. And as you exhale, see whether there is equal air coming out of the nostrils or not. Anybody feel more air coming out of the right nostril? Lift up your hand. Those of you who feel more air coming out of the right nostril, stretch out your right hand and press the thumb to the index finger and the middle finger together, like that. And keep that by the side. And continue your breathing. And with the other hand, after about 30 seconds, check to see whether it is the same or not. Anybody feeling more on the left nostril? Okay, so bring your left finger like this and then continue the breathing and watch for 30 seconds how it happens. Can you find after pressing it that way, both of them are becoming closer towards equal? Okay. This is a technique. Anytime we do any breathing exercises, it is always better that both of them should be equalized. Otherwise, it will create certain imbalances that will come. Now, in traditional yoga, when you want to do it, there is a very easy way they do, is they'll put a pillow on this side. Here we didn't have pillows, so we use this movement, which is simpler than having to have a pillow. And some of you who come from the Indian background, if you have seen the photos and things of ancient rishis and all of that, they will have something called a brahmadat, that they have their hand like this over here. What they will be supporting here. So the moment they put one or the other, they can equalize it if there is this. So that is the purpose of it. Okay? So the equalizing actually helps you to get further. Now that you have equalized it, or if you need to keep the finger, keep the finger. And what we will do is, we will do light Kapalbhati practice. And how do you do the Kapalbhati practice? Each in their capacity. But what is the key requirement for Kapalbhati? No jerk. People will often do Kapalbhati the way they blow their nose. You do it with a jerk to clear the nose. No jerk. So how do you do it without jerk? When you're doing it without jerk, it's a gradual moving, right? And when it moves, where are you moving? Two places. Pelvic floor is pulling up and the abdominal area is going in. And what is happening? the diaphragm is pulling up, the lower lung is exhaling, right? So you should feel the pelvic floor pull up slightly, like the buttocks are kind of squeezing slightly, abdominal area going in, right? So let's do it together without jerk. All of you are doing very well. I want to get this session to be somewhat demonstrative for you, so that you have a bundle load of techniques and things, so that later on when you do, you will be able to make use of all of them. Okay? So we'll stop over here. Now the next one, and of course the whole point is any breathing exercise, Bhastrika Pranayama, this Kapalbhati, you want to make sure the nostrils are blowing equally on both sides before you do, okay? And by holding the fingers, you can adjust it very easily. Now, let's go on to what we are going to do now. We are going to work with vibrations. The reason I want to work with vibration is you can all feel the power of vibrations, how much it can impact, okay? And I look around in the audience, when I look at them, when these days I can no longer assume young people have more tonal strength and flexibility and all of that. And but then when I look around, I can sense. So what it is, we do light things without doing, and you will find still impact come. Okay. So within yoga, the Tantra yoga side addresses some of the deeper issues. So we are going to do vibration in the 7 chakras. You might have heard of the chakras. We won't discuss it now. We'll do the practice straight. Keep your awareness at the perineum. Where is the perineum? It is between your anus and your genital area, right in the middle. So it is literally you're sitting. When you're sitting, the part that is not touching the ground but in between the buttocks, that is where you will find the perineum. So, keeping your mental focus over there, we will do the sound lam. When we do the sound lam, you will first take a deep breath in, and then you will begin lam. When the word la comes in, begin squeezing in the perineum with the mental focus there. Keep the squeeze with the going on lam till the full breath goes. Once the full breath goes, you release the squeeze over there at the dawn. We will do this many times, okay? So let's take a deep breath in. Lam. Excellent. So just stop for a moment. I want each one of you to just look how you're feeling within your body and mind. Feel how you feel in the head. Look at the whole body. See if there is any places where you feel stiffness, tightness, how it is. Okay? And all that we are going to do is we are going to open the communication channels, and once we are finished with it, you can observe how it is. Okay? So let's continue with love. Take another deep breath. Love. Third time. Love. Continue. Love. Lam. 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 Last time. Lam. One more time. Lam. Bring your awareness 1 inch above the perineum in the middle of the body. And this area is behind the place where you urinate. And here we are going to do the sound VAM. So when you do VA, you feel the mental focus is there. You kind of squeeze right from the place, the urination area backward. Hold the squeeze and the mental focus there when you do the sound VA. So take a deep breath in. VAM. That is good. Now we go behind the navel, in the middle of the body, focusing there. We do the sound rum. When we do the sound rum, you want to squeeze behind the navel. Right? Take a deep breath in. Rum! Rum! Now bring your awareness in between your breasts, right in the middle of the chest, in line with your middle of your breast. Okay? So keeping the focus inside the body. Here you cannot squeeze like you can. It's not soft muscle tissues here. But still feel mentally squeeze of it. Okay? We are going to do the sound yum. Take a deep breath in. Yum! Last time. Hum. One more time. One more last time. Now bring your awareness to the middle of the head. And where is the middle of the head? You can think of it as the back upper part of your mouth below the brain. The other way is you see the bridge of the nose over here. Directly behind the bridge of the nose in the middle of the head. Another way to easily find it is come to the edge of your eyes and just slide your two fingers to where it hits the ear. When the two fingers are pointing, right in the middle is the middle of the head. Okay? So you keep your focus right over there. And we do the sound chum. Like ka-chum, right? Chum. So take a deep breath in. Chum. One more time. Last time. close your eyes and just look within. Observe how you feel within. Do you feel a sense of lightness from before? The head a little lighter, body a little lighter, clearer? Do you feel the difference between how you were before we did all this chanting? So this is clearing out some of the channels. These are the higher channels, that's why I did it first, where you can feel. Now we'll go on to the spine. By the way, this channel that it clears is the Sushumna Nadi. And the Sushumna Nadi is a place where the gene expression emanates through. So basically, each one of us had a different, we did different number of times for different this. It was basically we were looking for everybody to clear. Some people cleared quickly, the 1, 2, etc. There were others I was waiting for. So each one for a different reason. I will explain briefly, although I want to focus on the practices. The first Kapalbhati which you did gently. How many of you here take vitamin D for your, not having adequate this thing? Any of you take vitamin D over here? You do. Living in sunny Phoenix, if you still need vitamin D, why is that the case? That because the assimilation is not happening. That Kapalbhati that you have, if you do that 15 minutes morning and 15 minutes evening, the assimilation of the vitamin D will happen. Okay? It has to be done gently, without strain. Okay? So you can do that. And of course it has many other benefits too. One of them I pointed out. In this chakra vibrations, if those of you who could sense, each time you did in a chakra over here, while your focus is elsewhere, you should feel the vibration rise and go up through the head, even though the focus is somewhere else. When it goes through the head, it means the chakra is clear. Why can the chakra block? Each one is a different aspect of it. Just to give you an example, the places where most people have problems with, and most had over here, is the navel chakra. It's the seat of energy. When you have a lot of stuff to do and your mind is in different places, multitasking, a lot of things to do, that's where the thing is going. Okay? That's what for most people. There are people for whom the throat is blocked. They are the people who are not expressing themselves completely. So they for the throat, some of them. For people for whom the root chakra, there may be some insecurities, whether my health is good, whether I have financial security, whatever this thing. So all of them. So that is where we needed to focus on. Each person is different. So we worked on it. Okay? Now, so having all of those cleared up now we will do the spinal alignment and just see the impact. Okay? So, are you ready? Put away your book. What are you writing?
New experience.
Yes.
I would not like to waste your time.
No. Please share.
I was listening this vibration, and it's a new experience that the residual vibration of every utterance that was made here is equal to the residual vibration of the temple bell.
Very nice. So, how did you figure that out?
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. With due respect, I have been part of the participants for 40 years. And today I decided that no, I will watch. Maybe I learn something different.
Very good.
You asked me a question, how did I observe?
Yeah.
When each one of us was uttering these words like lam, vam, ram, those kind of things. With my closed eyes, I was trying to follow the vibration, where is it going? When you all had completed your utterance, believe you me, there was a vibration present. And that is what I call the residual vibration.
Excellent.
And when I go to the temple, because I was born and brought up in a culture where we go to the temple and we ring the bell. So when we ring the bell, there is also this one hit in the bell, but there is a vibration which is left for a period of time. And if you go to the tail of it, the end of it, it was the same exactly which I have now experienced when I was following the vibration that was being created by each utterance.
Excellent. Actually, I'm going to give you a scriptural validation for what you have just said. If you go into the Bhagavata Purana, somewhere in between over there, it is said how chanting should be done. The word used is it should be like a ghantana. That is the word that is used over there. Okay. So it is validated what you're saying. Okay. So now that is beautiful. Now we are going to do the entire spine, because the spine is the governor of the vitality in the system, the central nervous system, brain down. So here we cleared out the gene expression. Okay. Now we are going to deal with this. So while I would like to do some eye exercise, I'm going to skip that today, okay, in the interest of time. So we'll start from the cervical vertebra. And there are two ways to,
How we keep our legs, is that okay? However,
it makes no difference, just keep the spine straight. In fact, those of you who have a little bit of difficulty, sitting, just roll up your mat like this, and if you roll it up like this a little bit and as much as you can, as you're sitting, just lift your butt like this and put it over there. The lumbar support will make it easier for you. Right. A little bit more forward. You sit a little forward. That's good. Now sit. Actually, the way you should sit, not on the top, but you should lean forward and each set. Feel better? A little bit? Okay. So now by the way, there's nothing wrong in sitting in a chair either. Okay, you get all the benefits related to it. So now I'll do the gentle one. You see, there are two techniques of all of these. The two techniques are the Tantra Yoga technique versus the Hatha Yoga technique. In the Hatha Yoga technique, any posture position you hold, you want to hold for a period of 1 minute, at least 1 minute. Okay? So you are in that position, observing, inhaling and exhaling. Okay? That is a faster way of clearing the vibration channels. Okay, or clearing the communication channels. However, it is a little more strenuous. And when I look across the board over here, I feel that I should do the gentler variety. The gentler variety comes from the Tantra Yoga technique. In Tantra Yoga, the word used for moving with the energy is called moving with the spine and the breath. They call it as prana kriya. Okay? And of course, the history and tradition of this is not always well known. So, one person who came from the Hatha Yoga tradition realized there was value to motion with the breath, and they used a new term called Vinyasa Yoga. They didn't know it was already existing. In the Tantra Yoga, they call it as Prana Kriya. Okay? So now, what we will do is, from this straight position, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, gently tilt your ear towards your shoulder on one side. Inhale, come back. Exhale, tilt towards the other side. Inhale, come back. Continue. Keep the body loose. No tightness. So in the course of doing this, if the spine also bends a little bit, no problem. Just enjoy the motion.
And when do we have to inhale and exhale? When we bend, we have to inhale?
When you inhale on your way to this normal position, exhale as you go sideward. Okay? Come back to the starting position. Now, inhale, and as you exhale, turn one side. Inhale, come back. Exhale, turn the other. Again, keep the body loose. In the course of doing this, if the spine turns a little, don't worry. Okay? While you're focused on turning, body must be loose. Okay? Okay? Now inhale, take the head back, and exhale, chin toward the chest. Again, keep the body loose. Okay? Now, as you exhale, bring the chin towards the chest. Inhale, gently rotate. Sideward. Complete half a circle as you inhale, and as you exhale, complete the other half. Do it gently and slowly with long breath. Now let's go in reverse motion. It's out of the thighs, and they move back, and then you rotate backward, the palm comes onto the thighs, exhale, bring it forward. So inhale, rotate back, and then exhale. Right? So you get a full stretch. Come, let's do it. That's okay. Inhale. This is the motion, right? Okay.
Elbow bends a little bit, is okay?
See, while inhaling, elbow does not bend. While exhaling, the elbows will bend. Okay? We are only doing backward motion. Many people ask me, why are we not doing the reverse motion? We are not going to do it. It's because all of us, tending to all the stuff we have to do, we tend to go this way. We don't do enough backward bending. So this is the one that is going to impact. Okay, now let's shift to the other shoulder. Same thing. All of these motions, ideally in a group setting, should be done for 20 times. Okay? But individually, if you are aware, then in which case, you can do fewer times and you can know whether 5 times or 10 times it loosens up. The key is loosening up. In a group setting, 20 times done will take care of everyone. I'm going to do shorter duration today in the interest of time. Now we are going to do alternate motion. Inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Now, anybody have stiff fingers, hands? No? Everybody good? Okay, then we'll skip on one. Okay? I'm going to demonstrate, we won't do this in the interest of time. You see what happens is, particularly if you're dealing with older population and if they have stiffness, arthritic kind of thing, what you do is there are 3 exercises you can do after this in sequence. And one exercise you do is, inhale, stretch out the hand, exhale, downward bending, the thumb goes in and you make a downward fist. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay? And you do this like 10, 20 times. Then the second exercise is inhale and exhale, rotating around the wrist. The primary movement is the wrist, the secondary movement is the elbow, there's a tertiary movement in the shoulders. And then of course you do the opposite direction as well. The next one you do is, you get the 10 finger tips together. As you exhale, push on the fingers. The palms don't come together, only the fingers come together. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. This is highly restorative. They are all connected to the spine for people to do. After we do this, we do both shoulders together. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. You can already feel how much loose the neck is, right? And if the neck is loose, the head becomes happy. Smile comes onto your face. This is good. What you have done is the intersection between the cervical and thoracic vertebra, all of them you have moved, shoulder areas. Now, we need to complete the loosening of the muscles around the mid-spine, that is the lower thoracic segment, right? And the intersection into the lumbar. How are we going to do it? We are going to twist to the left and right. We want to make it smooth, easy, but yet powerful. So how do we do that? You can do it in one of 2 ways. One way is you can cross your hand, and as you exhale, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, turn as much as you can, taking the hand behind. Inhale, loosen up. Exhale, go that way, and inhale, loosen up. Okay? But there is another way in which you can do even better. But it is your choice, what makes you feel good. We do it in 3 motions. First, when you inhale and you exhale, turn the head. Then, take the left hand behind. Second motion, you stretch even more. Third, take the right hand and swing it over to the left, you go even more. Inhale, come back. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. See how much motion you get? Look. You see, when you go this way, you have to look in that direction too, as much as you can. Now, cross one leg over the other. Actually, in sequence, we would go through rotating around the waist also. So I'm going to do it a couple of times. Most of you are losing up over here. But the one which is going to make a bigger impact is cross one leg over the knee. As you're sitting in a chair, you can cross and do the same thing. And then interlock your fingers and bring it over the knee. Now, as you exhale, pull this across and turn the head around. Inhale, release. Exhale, pull, turn. Inhale, release. Exhale, pull, turn. Inhale, release. Exhale, pull and turn. Inhale, release. Exhale, pull. Okay, cross the leg the other way. When you are doing this, the lowermost part of your spine is getting stimulated one side at a time. The coccyx and the lumbar region too, actually the sacrum. Yeah, both of you are okay. She is doing it one side, you are doing it the other side, so you are facing each other. No problem. No, you are doing it wrong. You have to turn the head this way. Yes, if you are pulling this way. Okay. So after this is over, if you still need loosening, you can hold like this and just shake a little bit. And the other leg. Okay. And at this point in time, there are various things that can be done. You can already feel, all of you, how much the body has become loose, right? The first vibration, the mind, everything, the body calm with all the sound vibrations. Then with this you feel the body getting loose. After this is done, what you can do is, I'm going to demonstrate, so please stay seated. As you inhale, bend at your knees. Exhale, come up. When you bend at your knees as you inhale, what you will find is that you need to keep the body perfectly vertical. Then all the stimulation here will be better, the lowermost part. You can do this 20, 30 times. And after this is over, what we typically do is getting the elbows behind you, keeping your feet shoulder width apart. Take a deep breath in, go back, and exhale, keeping the chin up, bend forward. As you stay bending forward over a period of time, in about 2 to 3 minutes, slowly the stretch will go further and further, and eventually you'll be able to bring your hands on the floor. When you bring the palms on the floor, take the left leg back, and then it is as if very slow motion Surya Namaskar. In this position, you look up, then bring your hands to the knee and stay here. And take a few inhalation, exhalation, 5, and then raise your hands and look up and stay there for 5 breaths. And then as you exhale, come down, take the other leg back, come down. And from here you go on to the regular Surya Namaskar. Each place, hold for 5 breaths. And then exhale, come back down, 5 breaths. And then bring the same leg forward, which means the other leg stretches out, and you do the same mirror motion, looking up, same, and then come down, this way. So what happens is, after we have done the spinal alignment, this works for this works for the balancing component, which is very important. At the same time, the muscle strengthening, all of this a little bit. See, in Hatha Yoga system, they use Surya Namaskar as a warm-up exercise. So they do it quickly. But when you're looking from the perspective of what is ideal suited for people, most people are stiff enough that if you do the Surya Namaskar fast, people can even hurt themselves. Whereas you saw the spine alignment and how we made it much, much more easier for you. After this is done, we have to do one exercise, actually more than one, but a very important exercise you should do is deep breathing. Just again, check your nostrils. If one nostril is more than the other, whichever side is more, just hold the finger. Right? Whichever. One good way in which to balance them is also you can do the Ujjayi throat case pranayama. We didn't do it today, but we'll do it tomorrow. Now, we do the deep breathing. And how is the deep breathing? Deep, slow breathing. Okay? So you can sit regularly and go. Or you can use your hands. You keep it in a loose fist, and if you are doing adjustment, you can keep it like that in whichever way you want. And then as you inhale and exhale. What is the motion involved over here? The motion involved is first breathing in the lower lung expands the belly. And as the chest expands from this position, you're lifting up the elbows so that giving the room for the chest to expand. And the upper lung expanding is from the fist. If you take the hand backward like this, the shoulder stretches and the upper lung breathes. And as you exhale, close the fist, come down as you complete the exhalation. So, slower the better. Close the eyes. Bring your awareness within. Take a deep breath in and let's do an Om together. session today was meant more as an instructive session for various practices that may be useful for you. So obviously we did not cover everything, and given the time limitations, it's 9:05. I wanted to keep till about this time. 10 o'clock is my appointment here, so that in another 5-10 minutes I need to be. And that's the reason I stopped over here. The video you have, feel free to share it. If you want, you can post it on YouTube or whatever. You're welcome. Okay. And well, any questions? What is that? Yeah.
We did the stretches.
Okay. The thing is, now the cameras can be turned off.
It switched off before the Surya Namaskar because space was full.
Okay.
But we just did the breathing.
That's fine. Okay. See, three religions together required them to find the commonality, so they documented it very well. Okay? In Western mysticism, and some of you may have heard of Edgar Casey and people like that, and particularly in the field of psychology within various research within universities and all of that, they usually refer to the Sushumna Nadi as the central channel. Okay? This is actually in the middle of the body in front of the spine. So when we do the chakra vibrations focused on the middle of the body, we are clearing the Sushumna Nadi. Okay? The Sushumna Nadi, the left and right hand, the right hand refers to, it connects into the left brain, which is the maintenance system of the logical side of the brain. And the left hand is the adaptive system connected to the right brain, the creative side. Okay? So when we are really working with these two, we want to be in balance. The right hand is the logical and maintenance side dealing with the external world. The left hand is connected with the internal side, your creative side. So what happens is, in many ways, the right hand represents the epigenetic factors, what is hitting from you outside, the right hand, and the left hand is your genes. So the genes interacting with the external world is with the epigenetic factors creates the gene expression, which they come and melt into the Sushumna Nadi, and that's how the demands of the system are generated. So we did the Sushumna in the chakra. You could also do it with Anulom Vilom Pranayama. It is much less powerful and at a shallower level. The Anulom, you see what happens is, in any functionality, there is a program aspect, and then there is the energy aspect. The program can sit within your computer, but unless you plug the electricity on, nothing is going to work, right? If you channel the electricity in a certain way, that's how it will stimulate the program. The Anulom Vilom Pranayama does that. Whereas when you do the chakra vibration, it is even more powerful.
So the Anulom Vilom Pranayama we use instead of using this mudra to balance out the left and right nostrils as well.
You can do the Anulom Vilom Pranayama to do that,
Okay.
but Anulom Vilom Pranayama may not be as powerful.
The mudra is more powerful.
To balance it immediately. Okay, now remember, a good way to begin the yoga session is with Anulom Vilom Pranayama, because you create a balance. Because any of the breathing exercise you do with both nostrils, you want to make sure they're balanced. Okay? So, we'll conclude the session today.